music is always a strong force, a driving force for change. And we have to keep that in mind as we're looking for a cure. All right, Kate Keller.
I'm going to do a song about freedom because freedom has been a popular topic, and it's also has a lot to do with personal freedom and getting through things in life that come up. So it's called Long Way to Freedom. Day after day, life is tough. Sometimes you need a place to hide away. People tell you what to do, they don't know what you're going through, so you turn away. And it's so hard when you're trying to be yourself. It's so hard not to be like everyone else. It's so hard. You just want to be yourself. It's so hard. And it's a long way to freedom. If you want to take that ride, I'm on to this train, and I'll show you inside. It's a long way to freedom. But if you want to stay, hop onto my train, and I'll show you the way. We'll find a way. Freedom, we're gonna find a way to freedom. You got your troubles, that's for sure. Money's tight and so much more, and you need a friend. so much more you want to do in your life if you only knew how to get away. And it's so hard, but when you're trying to be yourself, it's so hard not to be like everyone else. It's so hard. You just don't want to be yourself. It's so hard. And it's a long way to freedom if you want to take that ride. Oh, hop onto this train and I'll show you inside. It's a long way to freedom, but if you want to stay, hop onto my train and we can leave today. Oh, but find a way. Freedom, gonna find a way. Freedom, gonna find a way. Yeah, the freedom, we gotta find a way. Well, we can leave today. We're gonna find a way. Yeah, the freedom, we're gonna find a way. The freedom, yeah.
All right, we have a lot of talented people here tonight, so we're gonna change the tone a little bit, and we think we're gonna lighten it up with a joke. So I have somebody here who would like to come up and tell one joke or maybe two. All right, Linda Nanos.
So, I hope I can make you laugh. A monk enters a monastery where he has to take a vow of silence. But he's allowed to say 2 words every 10 years. So after his first 10 years, the High Holiness calls him in and says, "It's your 10th anniversary here, would you like to say 2 words?" "Food, terrible." So he says, "So noted, go back to your chores." So he goes back and he does his monk thing for another 10 years. He's called back in. High Holiness says, "It's your 20th anniversary here. Would you like to say 2 words?" "Bed, hard." "So noted, go back to your duties." So finally, 10 more years pass. He gets called in. He says, the High Holiness says, "It's your 30th anniversary here. Would you like to say 2 words?" He says, "I quit." The monk says, "I'm not surprised. You've done nothing but complain since you got here."
Who's putting you up to that, Linda? Okay, I'd like to now bring Jim Hawkins back up. And Jim's going to tell us a story.
Yes.
Well, actually, staying along the sort of the joke or storyline, there's a tradition in Ireland that what would happen in towns is that the parish priest, the local priest, would go around on a regular basis and he would see the neighbors, you know, see how they're doing, see if they needed any help and so forth. And so this particular day, the good father is going around and he decides that he's going to stop in at the house of Pat and Mary. Now, Pat and Mary are probably just about after getting married in maybe their late 30s, early 40s. And he gets to the house and he says, "I'm going to go in now and see how the newlyweds are doing." So when he goes, and it's a lovely house and so forth, and he sits down and he's having a talk with Pat and Mary. And after a while, Pat goes out to do some chores. So she says, "Well, Mary," says, "how's married life?" And he says, "Oh, very good, Father. We, as you can see, have a lovely home here, and Pat's a wonderful husband and so forth." I said, "Well, that's very good." He says, "I just happened to notice a little bit of disappointment on your face." He says, "Well, not so much disappointment, but I guess maybe a little bit disappointment. We're just a little disappointed that God has not sent us any children as yet." So he said, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, said the priest. I'm going off to Rome to study for 4 or 5 years, and the first thing I'm going to do when I get into the Basilica in St. Peter's, I will light a candle and say a special prayer that God will bless you with children. And she said, Godfather, that would be great. So off he goes to Rome, and he's away 4 or 5 years, and he comes back, and of course, following tradition, the first thing he does, he goes around and he visits the neighbors. And he gets to Pat and Mary's house, and I'll go in and I'll see how the newlyweds are doing. Goes in the door, and there are children all over the place. They are climbing up on the bureaus, they're up at the walls, and Mary is in the middle of them, several round her legs. And the priest says, oh God, Mary, isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful what God has done for you? And she says, yes, it is, Father, it is wonderful. And he looks around and he says, I don't see Pat anywhere. And she says, well, Father, I'm surprised that you didn't meet him on the way home. He's gone over to Rome to put out that candle of yours.